Hello, Angelo.
You're Uber for Angelo, right?
Yes, how are you?
How's it going?
I'm good.
Excellent.
It's nice to meet you,
Nice
Angelo.
to meet you too.
My name is Biniam.
Hi, Benjamin.
You are wearing my favorite color today.
Am I?
Can you guess which one it is?
Pardon me?
Can you guess which color
I guess
that is?
it's yellow.
Yellow is right. A very, very bright yellow. I love it.
It's also my kid's favorite color.
Is that so? Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Okay.
She was all excited when she saw me wearing yellow this
Oh,
morning.
that's awesome. I love it. So I'm trying to understand now how old she might be. How old is your young
How old?
one? Yes.
She's almost 10.
10 years old.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
turning 10 in April.
Well, please tell her that your Uber driver approves of her favorite color.
Perfect.
Yes.
I will.
How goes your Monday?
It's going well. It's going well. I just took a hearing test,
Oh, okay.
and it went well. So all normal. Nothing out of the ordinary. So cannot really complain.
Was it one required for work?
For work, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I work in construction, so I'm exposed. I'm
Yes.
exposed to noises.
Yes, of course.
I use hearing protection, but
Yes.
but it's a mandatory requirement.
Sure. Yeah, I remember when I used to work on the rigs that we were required to do the same thing as well.
Same thing. Yeah.
Same thing, yeah.
Oh, you worked on the rigs?
I did once upon a time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here in Alberta?
Here in Alberta, up north.
Okay, great.
Edmonton, Grand Prairie, and further north.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working on a project in well, not quite in Grand Prairie, but close to it.
Okay.
It's called Wembley.
Okay. How long have you been here in Canada for?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
And where did you move here from?
From Italy.
From Italy.
Yeah.
I don't meet many Italians.
Really?
No.
Well, yeah, no. As a matter of fact, you're right. I don't think there is many Italians here in Calgary.
Okay.
The most people of Italian background I find
Yes.
are kind of older generation.
Yes.
So they immigrated say in the 60s,
Yes.
in the 50s.
Yeah.
So kind of senior people by
Yeah.
now.
And they have invested in property.
That's right.
And they have grown their vines
Yeah.
and trees,
Yeah.
and they are tremendously gifted at looking after
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And they have a very tight community culture.
That's true. And for newcomers
Yes.
like me,
Yes.
I find that it's a bit too tight.
Too tight.
Right? I try to, I like to mingle and try to adapt and fit in.
Angelo, I feel the same way too. But it's interesting that you say that, and I'm almost interested in why. And I would suggest for me the reason I'm sharing the same perspective. I grew up here. I came here when I was 8 years old. So we moved to an area where there wasn't many other groups that were similar to our ethnic group.
Okay.
And so we had to assimilate.
That's right.
And to interact with different cultures, which is fantastic. But it also bred in me this desire to say, I don't want to be closed off. I want to experience the diversity.
I think that this is the plus of Canada and Calgary, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Giving people the opportunity to experience diverse cultures
Yeah.
and traditions and all that.
Sure.
So, well, I spent pretty much 36 years of my life in Italy, so I know Italian culture very well.
Sure.
I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I said to myself, okay, let's expand our horizons, right? And try to get a wider perspective. This doesn't mean that I don't like spaghetti or pizza,
No.
but
No, it just means that you are open to exploring different
Yes.
experiences amongst others, right? And I think because of that reason, I've almost come to have a very firm conviction and boundary where I say, even before I start celebrating diversity and cultures, I want to affirm our equality as humans.
Yep.
And on that premise there, I want to base our experiences on that plane of shared experiences, so that we can remind ourselves that we do feel the same way. We do have the same emotions. We do go through the same struggles in life, right? And then when I affirm that similarity, it enables enables me to have more of an ability to really reflect and appreciate the diversity, because then it can really be enjoyed first. But what I find even in my ethnic group in a very strong way is us versus them. We are better than because of X, Y, and Z. And that's the kind of narrative I really shy away from and I intentionally discourage.
But again, I think it's also generational. It's also a generational issue. I don't want to be, to frown upon, of course, the elderly, the senior, because they built this country, and they built the country sometimes where they come from. But it's also generational. It's a generational feature. They were raised sometimes to think that they were better. And I tell you this because it's very strong in Italy. Right? It's a very strong component of the Italian culture. That Italy is better. They do things better and all that. And I find this quite a lot with people of a certain
generation that's older. And even as I hear that, I think there's something to be said about paying honor to those that have actually established and invested in the ways that they have. I definitely don't want to take that away, but even as I acknowledge it, I also want to tactfully make that premise from my experience. I want to make that premise known, but I'm really thankful for their investment and the example that they've been, even as we continue to progress forward. I heard about this dynamic recently where the generations older left their country at some point, and they have never moved on from that place that the country that they left was. And as a result of them leaving, they always kept that old idea of it, but they never were there to see the evolution of the culture. And so if they were to go back, it may be something they don't recognize anymore, and that may be one of the strong elements that creates a lot of friction or tension between the older guard and the younger ones, especially in the desire for progress forward, and what could be. So I found that really helpful to reflect on and saying, I guess there is that element that plays into that challenge. And change is not an easy thing. Change
is one of the most painful things probably that some humans experience. Some people are more inclined to change, or they even embrace change, or promote it. Some people are really hostile to change, right? It's a personality trait, I guess.
I can see that. Angelo, I wanted to make a request of you. I'm really enjoying the conversation, but before I make my request, please feel free to say no if you feel uncomfortable. That's an absolutely good answer that I want to honor as well. When I don't drive my Uber, I create a lot of content by way of videos on the internet, where I love encouraging my followers in what could look like a good way. I want to model what good communication looks like between humans. Just it's one of those elements I find really lacking today, and I want to be a part of that conversation. Some of my Uber rides, like this one here, I'm thinking, I would love to share this conversation with my followers. They know I never post anybody's image or picture without their consent. It's really important for me to have that kind of collaboration. Do you feel comfortable if I were to share our time together, this conversation?
100%.
I would be happy to be able to share, but I want to make sure it's okay with you, because some people value their privacy and others want, for different reasons, maybe work, not to be online.
Absolutely. May I ask you are on LinkedIn, you're on Twitter, or?
I'll give you my card here at the end of it.
That's awesome, perfect.
This is I call this a video release form. There's a pen just at the bottom there. It's just a formal way of me being able to have the legal permission, to say.
I understand.
Yeah, I appreciate you filling that out for me. Sometimes I find when we have a different perspective, especially being immigrants, it's very insightful for those who have never had the opportunity to experience diversity, to have a different radar on perspectives like these, for example. appreciate you being willing to do this, though.
No worries. It's all. Actually, I'm glad. It never happened to me, and I think it's a good idea, right? To communicate on social media. There is a lot of that.
I think yes, especially when you have a good intention of sharing good with others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Feel free to take a picture of that as well if you wish.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I need a parent signature.
Nope. I'm glad you're reading carefully. Thank you, Angelo. I appreciate that. This is my card here, Angelo.
Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. And on the back, you'll see my handle there. And those are the platforms that I'm currently on right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll give you an opportunity to